Now, how long have you been like fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now. Now it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up. They had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor, and the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
Boosie just broke his silence, and the internet is in shock. After nearly 3 years of fighting the feds, appealing court decisions, and wearing an ankle monitor for a year, Boosie has finally accepted a plea deal in his federal gun case. And what he said? It hit hard. In his own words, Boosie shared this plea news on his account with his fans and said, "Just accepted a plea from the federal government on my gun case. I thought this case was over and I was going to get on with my life, but God don't make mistakes and I'm tired of fighting. Talk to my family, and this is the right decision to all my fans across the world. Say a prayer for your boy and go get the new album, Boosie." And his legal team fought hard. At one point, he even got a ruling from the Supreme Court in his favor, and the case was completely dropped by the judge.
You know, I trust in God, Vlad. I mean,
Over.
I was celebrating, bro.
And we were celebrating too early.
I was celebrating. I got a call on the beach 3 weeks later with my family. Say they just indicted you again.
Yeah.
What led to this decision? Why now? And what does it mean for Boosie's future? Stay with us, because what Boosie reveals next might just explain everything.
Now, how long have you been like fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now. They went appeal the Supreme Court ruling, and they won on the Supreme Court ruling. Now it was back again. I could have appealed that.
Boosie's legal battle didn't start yesterday. This case has been following him for almost 3 years. It all began as a state-level gun charge, but things quickly escalated when the federal government stepped in and took over the case. But that didn't last long. And
the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped. They went appeal the Supreme Court ruling, and they won on the Supreme Court ruling. Now it was back again.
After that appeal, the same case came back again, and Boosie found himself facing more court delays, more legal fees, and more stress. What seemed like a win turned into a nightmare. Now, after all this time, instead of risking another long trial, Boosie made the decision to plead guilty and move forward with a plea deal. So why did Boosie finally take the deal after all these years? In his own words, he was just tired of fighting. Boosie admitted that he never really planned to go to trial from the start. Even though he had legal options left, he was mentally and emotionally done with the entire situation.
Wasn't gonna go to trial with it, you know.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna go to trial with it from the dump, actually, but I feel like this the right move for me.
He talked it over with his family, and after a long discussion, they agreed that it was time to let go and move on. Boosie also mentioned that he's putting his faith in God and trusting that whatever happens next is part of the bigger plan.
I just told you I trust in God.
For him, it wasn't just about the legal fight anymore. It was about protecting his peace, focusing on his music, and finally moving forward without the weight of court dates and indictments. Fans were surprised when the news dropped. But once Boosie explained it, many started to understand why he made this choice. As if the gun case wasn't enough, the feds tried to add another charge against Boosie, one that completely shocked his fans. They claimed Boosie was a drug addict, and they tried to use one of his old interviews from nearly 10 years ago as evidence.
They added a charge, said I was a drug addict.
I think they were trying to use one of my interviews to justify that over something that you were talking about from like 10 years ago.
They say I was a drug addict, man, and
how are you even charged with that? That's a charge?
Boosie didn't hold back. He called out the system for trying to twist his past words into something that could hurt him now.
They threw that out.
I don't know what that came from. I think that was just I don't know.
Yeah, no.
It's no proof I'm a drug addict.
The fact that you used to take drugs 10, 20 years ago, doesn't matter for nothing.
That doesn't matter. The fact that I was sentenced to third offense marijuana.
He also reminded everyone that he once got sentenced to 10 years for a third offense marijuana charge. And even then, the system never offered him rehab or support.
10 years? I was sentenced to 10 years. The system been let me down.
Right.
I was sentenced to 10 for third offense marijuana.
Yeah.
How you know if I'm drug addict if you never send me to rehab? I was sent straight to the pen. How am I, if I'm a drug addict if you've never offered me rehab?
In the end, Boosie's legal team successfully got the drug charge thrown out as part of the plea deal. Even his own lawyer said there was no proof at all that Boosie was a drug addict. It was just another attempt to damage his image and build a stronger case. Beyond the courtroom battles, Boosie leaned heavily on his faith in God during this stressful time. He admits that his mother had to remind him where his trust should really lie. Not in people, not in the legal system, but in God himself.
That's how I feel. I feel like God because my mama got on my ass the other day and so told me, cause my mom, they heavy on God, bro. She told me, stop asking called my phone and blew me down. Stop asking for a fucking pardon.
Boosie explained that his family's support was crucial in making the decision to take the plea deal. They guided him to focus on what's truly important: peace of mind, family, and his music career. Another thing Boosie mentioned was the judge. In this case, for the first time, he feels like he has a fair judge, someone who isn't biased or holding grudges against him.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever had a judge who I would say is fair. Judges always stuck it to me.
This is a stark contrast to his previous experiences in Louisiana, where he says judges were often hard and unsympathetic. Boosie believes that God's plan is guiding him, whether that means staying free or going to prison. He's ready to accept whatever comes. For Boosie, faith and family weren't just emotional support, they were the guiding forces behind one of the biggest decisions of his life. So, what's next for Boosie after accepting this federal plea deal? According to his lawyer, the final sentence will be decided by the judge. Right now, no one knows exactly how much time Boosie might serve. It could be months or possibly longer. Even with the uncertainty, Boosie says he's leaving it in God's hands. He believes that whatever happens, it's all part of a bigger plan. For fans, the upcoming plea and sentencing are a tense moment, but for Boosie, it's a chance to finally move forward with his life without endless court battles hanging over him. One thing is clear: after 3 years of legal struggles, Boosie has made his peace, and now the focus shifts to the court and his future decisions. When Boosie announced that he accepted the plea deal, fans and supporters were shocked. Many had believed the case was already over, and this sudden news caught everyone off guard. Boosie took to Twitter to explain his decision and ask for support, reminding his fans to pray for him and continue supporting his music. The response was mixed. Some fans expressed disappointment, wishing he had fought longer. Others showed understanding and support, saying that mental and emotional health is just as important as the legal battle. Boosie's message made it clear this isn't the end of his story, but a new chapter where he can focus on his life, music, and faith. While the courts decide his fate, after nearly 3 years of legal battles, Boosie has finally made his choice. Accepting a plea deal doesn't mean the fight is over, but it does show that he's tired of the constant stress, court dates, and uncertainty. The plea deal resolves part of the federal gun case, but the final sentence will be determined by the judge. For fans, this is a tense moment, but for Boosie, it's about trusting the process, leaning on faith, and focusing on the future. What happens next? Will Boosie serve time, or will he walk away with minimal consequences? Only time will tell. One thing is certain: Boosie has finally spoken out, explained his decision, and shared his perspective with the world. What do you think about Boosie's choice? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates on Boosie and other celebrity news stories.